Hi everyone, it's me Plantine Charlene, and today I wanted to discuss 3 of my plants that I find are fast growers and easy to care for. Alright, so before I show the first plant, I want to say thank you to everyone who has subscribed to my channel, has liked, commented, or watched my videos. If you haven't subscribed already, I hope you want to subscribe and hit that button today. Guys, so the first plant I want to show you is my Raindrop Peperomia. It's shaking a lot because unfortunately I knocked it over and I lost about 3 stems with nice sized leaves on them, so I'm upset with myself. But I had this plant prior. I unfortunately repotted it in really bad soil, and it was like really old soil, but I was desperate and I thought I'd be okay with using it, but the plant went downhill in a matter of a couple of weeks, if not less. So I finally had the opportunity to replace it, so I finally did. So here's a few things about this plant. One, it grows compact. So it's not going to be a very tall plant, and you know, like a, say, a fiddle leaf fig, or even like a Dieffenbachia, the plants that can get really tall, or a money tree, or a ponytail palm. I thought somebody was coming in, or even like a Monstera. This plant is going to stay pretty much compact. So it may grow up to 12 to 15 inches high and become more fuller. So you may see the stems growing more wide than tall. Another thing about this plant is that these stems here and these leaves, they'll hold water in it. They'll hold the moisture in there longer. So if you miss a watering, it's okay. The soil really should dry out. Don't let it dry out for too long. How you'll know is that the bottom leaves will start to turn yellow. And that's a sign that you're not watering it fast enough. So you kind of have to learn your watering schedule. I watered mine about a week and a half ago, and I'm probably going to wait another week before I water it again, but I will be checking it and looking, because being that I knocked down my lower leaves, I don't really have many lower leaves to lose. The soil should be a good draining soil. Being that I purchased this one, I don't know what soil they used, but you want to use something similar to a cacti mix. So even if you bought a cacti potting mix, that'll work for this plant. And light. This plant likes indirect bright light. So if you're in a room that has a south facing window, you don't want to bring it directly close to the window. You want to bring it back about 5-6 feet and make sure that it's getting light but not direct heavy sun afternoon light on it. Maybe through a sheer curtain, or behind some plants that prefer brighter light, so it can kind of block it. I believe this plant is from Peru, and I can't remember the other area. So it grows on the ground below trees, so it receives that indirect sunlight. And you see that these leaves are nice and shiny. I didn't add anything to it to make it that shiny. And then look at that, kind of like a perfect heart shape. This is one of the reasons why I wanted this plant. It's funny that they call it raindrop, because it's not really shaped like a raindrop. It's shaped more like a heart, but whatever's clever, right? So this plant is one of my easy care. This is a fast grower as well. I'm sorry, my son came out and it threw me all the way off. I can't remember what I was last talking about, but I'm going to discuss fertilizer. Best to use fertilizer during the time of year that it's growing, which is basic spring, summer, maybe the beginning of fall, not towards the end where you're going into your winter. Propagation, very easy. As you see here, oh, my poor plant. You see here, these nodes here, you can cut right beneath the nodes. So if I wanted to propagate this, I could either cut it below here, or, poor plant, cut it below here. That will cause a new leaf to sprout from this section here. So you have options. You can either do water propagation or push it directly into the soil, or sphagnum moss. I find that sphagnum moss is really good to do propagation for your plants. So you got options. So there it is, my Peperomia Raindrop. A couple of things that I forgot to mention about the Peperomia Raindrop. One, if you do propagate, make sure there are at least 2 leaves on that stem. If you choose to do the water propagation, you should change the water weekly just to make sure that the water's fresh and it helps the plant root better. If you're going to do the soil propagation, make sure that you keep it in high humidity. You want to keep that temperature warm. That'll help the roots develop faster, and then the plant will be able to be repotted quickly. This plant does like to be root bound, so don't be fast to repot it if you don't see that the roots are like really tight in the pot. Let it marinate for a little longer before you do that. All right, so the next plant I want to talk about, which is a very common plant now, and which is the Swiss cheese plant, also known as, or more known as, the Monstera Adasonii. This is a wide leaf one. I had purchased a smaller leaf one prior, and I wanted to get the wide leaf one because I like the big holes. Some people don't like the big holes, but to me, that's what makes this plant stand out that much more. As you see here, I have a new leaf growing, and I can already see that it's gonna have the holes in it. Well, it's not like the Deliciosa where you have to wait for the plant to mature for the leaves to have the holes. So unfortunately, when it arrived, thanks to the delivery people, the stem that was here broke. Oh, here we go. But give me 1 second. Sorry about that. I have to remember my lights are on a timer. This plant, like the Raindrop Peperomia, also likes indirect sunlight. So this also grows beneath the canopy, is the proper wording, I believe, of trees. So that's the reason why it likes the indirect sunlight. If the plant is not getting enough sunlight, these holes in the leaves, which I can never remember the proper word, fenestrations, that's what it's called. So if you do not have this plant in enough light, it will not create the fenestrations, aka these leaf holes. It will stop creating those holes in the leaf. Also, if you put it in too much light, you could burn the leaves of this plant. It is very sensitive to light. If you only have a south-facing window, or you live in an area where the sun is always strong, you can always either pull it back from the window or put a sheer curtain in front of that window to help block some of that sunlight. This plant appreciates humidity. It also can grow very, very tall. Unlike the Raindrop, this plant will grow tall. A moss pole will be very good for this plant, because though this one hasn't really developed a big old node yet, but you see that right there? Sorry, that right there. That is a node. So that is used for, one, the roots to come out of and to attach itself to a moss pole. It's also used for your eye to know where to cut the plant if you wanted to propagate it, because this plant is very easy to propagate. You will cut, doing a bad job, you will cut right below it, and then you will put this in water, let it root, let the roots get at least 3 inches long. You want to have good strong roots. If they're, really small, it's not going to do well if you try to put it in soil too soon. But you can put it in water. It won't take that long for the roots to develop. I'm going to say within a month it will be completely ready. Maybe not even, maybe 3 weeks. It'll be ready to, oh, I see I have 2. There's another one right there. So I can actually get 2 cuttings from this. Yes, indeedy, I would get 2. I would get this section here, and then, boy, it would be kind of difficult to cut, but I know I could get 2. But I'm not going to do that anytime soon. I lost my train of thought. Focus. So this plant does like its soil to dry out before you water it again. Don't let it dry out too much, because you will start to get brown edges, which is a dead giveaway. Also, this plant likes warm weather, 60 to 85 degrees, hence like the Raindrop Peperomia. So this is why they could live in the same pot. If I wanted to create a combo pot of different kind of plants, you want to combine plants that have kind of the same care needs. These 2 plants could actually grow together, but I don't think it'll look nice. This plant does not have, it's not known for many pests. I've never had an issue with my other one having pests. Now the Deliciosa can be attacked by mealybugs or thrips, so maybe there's a similarity since they're both under the same Monstera family. But the soil for this plant can be basic house, I can't keep my thoughts together. Sorry, I just can't get my right mind to be focused. But the one thing I want to go back to, I mentioned a moss pole. The beauty of putting this kind of plant on a moss pole is that once it starts to grow, these leaves will get bigger. Now, this leaf is a nice size, but imagine, like, it can get even bigger than that. So if you like to see the plant grow bigger leaves, you want to get a moss pole and stake it, and it will start to grow taller and more compact up. Not necessarily compact, but it definitely will get bigger leaves. This plant, I can't seem to remember anything. Fertilizer. Fertilize it during the growing season. Basic again, spring, summer, early fall. And before I start stumbling on my words again, I'm going to move on to the next plant. So there we go. My Swiss cheese plant. Man, never mind. All right, so the last plant is my Moses in the cradle. I believe this is a part of the Tradescantia family, and the beauty of this plant are the back of the leaves. You can kind of see the purple on the edges, but this is really what attracted me to the plant. It's a fast grower, easy to care for, very easy to propagate. This plant, I believe I saw that plant Mama Tatiana had, and I said I wanted, maybe I have the wrong one, but it's somewhere in that same kind of family as far as the look goes, the underneath the purple in the leaves and the way it grows outward. So the one thing about this plant, it has like a lot of names, and I'm gonna read it from my phone because I can't even try to start remembering. So it's also known as the oyster plant, boat lily, cradle lily, Moses in the bulrushes. And here I see that this plant is native to the West Indies, Mexico, and Central America. As I noted already, it is an easy care for plant. I'm going to read what I learned about this plant because I don't know off the top of my head. Again, I tend to buy plants from the visual and then work after to the care. So it says for the watering, allow the top 2 inches of the soil to dry out. Keep the soil drier during the winter, considering that the plants are not actively growing. Fertilizer, they say spring and summer, basics, right? And it does say to dilute that fertilizer to, so if it's saying to give it a cup, pretending, it says a cup of fertilizer, it suggests only half a cup. Humidity, it prefers high humidity. So you can place it in a tray or on a tray with pebbles, making sure that the bottom of the plant, if it definitely has holes in it, is not sitting in that water. It'd probably be best to put this in a separate pot, a cashpo pot, and then sit that on top of the tray, because the plant, even if the pot is sitting in water, the plant will not be. In addition, it says that the temperature, this one's also 60 to 85 degrees, and spider mites and mealybugs are the pest issues. And right now I am having a mealybug fight. We're in the 12th round, and I think I'm gonna come out the winner. It does say soil should be in a basic potting soil mix that retains moisture, yet drains quickly. So to help it drain quickly, you want to put either perlite or pumice. You can even use bark from an orchid, the mix from orchid mix, add it to the soil to help that drain faster. It does note pruning. They recommend vigorously pruning in the spring to keep the plant full and bushy. There is a suggestion to always wear gloves, since the sap in the plant is toxic and is very irritating. I think I did that to myself with one of my plants. Propagation by stem cuttings or plant division. And this plant has a number 3 toxicity level. So there we go. So you can see the beauty of this plant. It is very full looking right now. It's not leggy. This plant grows fast though. I do know that much, because the Tradescantia family, whether it's the forget it. I can't remember, but Wandering Jew, that's one of them. The pink one that I do own, Nanut, I think is the name. I'm not sure. I'll put it down below. They all grow quickly. They do like the medium light, like I noted, and they grow fast and are very easy to propagate. So there we go. That's the last and final plant. All right, guys, that is it. That was all of my plants. I am wishing everyone a happy new year. I wish that you stay healthy, stay safe, keep planting. Nothing but positive energy to everyone. And I pray that your 2021 is fabulous and great and something to look forward to. God bless everybody. Bye-bye.